Hey, everyone. This time between the two shows always goes really fast for me. It is the pre-weekend after party. That's what this is. Woohoo! Sammy Jenkins, hope you're doing well this morning. I always feel like it's an accomplishment whenever I still have a little bit of coffee left in my coffee cup, gum mug, right? A little bit of coffee to help me get through the after party after show. So I made the decision yesterday to definitely go down to North Carolina to see my sister, my sister, and my mom. We contacted my half sister, found out where they live. It's going to take us about a 12-hour drive to get down there. So we are leaving, not today, but a week from today, and we are driving down. So next Friday, I will not be here. For members, yeah, right. I think I'm going to do for members and my patrons, I'm going to do a couple of videos and a couple of some righty things about my experience going down there. Because it's going to be one of those, it's a hard lift kind of things. I don't know if I'm bringing or if I'm inviting the kids or not. I have to see whether or not how my mom's tests come back. If they come back okay, then I'll invite my kids down with me. Because if they don't come okay, if they're not okay, then I'm just gonna, I don't know. I'll just ask the kids to come down. Is it going to be more difficult to bring my kids down? Maybe. I don't know. So that's where I am. As you can tell, I have a lot of mixed feelings about it. And so it's going to be next weekend. I'm just going to be rage. Thank God I don't just talk about my own fucking navel for the next hour, No one wants to hear. No one wants to hear this crap. I don't even want to hear this crap.
I kind of feel for you that you have to go to North Carolina because I stay away from that state like as far as I can be.
Yeah. What's up, Sammy? It's I figured out where they live. It's around Fort Bragg. I've driven through North Carolina. I have no idea what that area is like.
I'm trying to remember where Fort Bragg is. If I can remember correctly, it's kind of outside the Charlotte area. And if that's where it's at, then you should be decent. That area of North Carolina is not as bad. I grew up in Hickville. Like I said in your chat yesterday, I have people that literally talk about, doing violence to me if I ever go back because of politics. I'm a very vocal liberal, and they do not like liberals down there.
Wow. It's funny how most of my knowledge of the South is based on Civil War battles, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, North Carolina had a few really good Civil War battles. It was a point of interest in our history study when I was going to school.
Very interesting. So did they?
Good morning.
Hey, how's it going, Glenn?
Good. Sorry I haven't been around the last couple of days. Had some stuff I had to do, but yeah, I was working yesterday. I actually got to, unfortunately not working right now, but a friend of mine's a caterer, so he got me to help him out yesterday, so I got to make
All right.
Yeah.
So I worked in a catering. I worked for a caterer for a short period of time when I was young, and it was good money. It was good money comparatively.
Yeah, I'm just helping him do prep and stuff, and he's got a business, catering business. He's just starting now, so it's kind of cool, And did you guys hear, unfortunately, another mass shooting this morning, or was it last night in Indianapolis?
I saw it in the chat. I didn't even see it this morning when I was going through the news.
Yeah. Like that's just what someone posted on Facebook, and it's something. It's like at a FedEx building, there were like 8 people killed or something. And just like,
I did see that. Yes.
Yeah.
That was, in the FedEx building. Disgruntled employee? Is that what happened?
I'm not sure when it happened. I just basically got the news broadcast that a friend of mine shared it, and it was, I think, the local Fox affiliate or something saying that there had been a mass shooting. They hadn't released any details yet, only that apparently 8 people have been killed. But again, unfortunately, the sun comes up and another one of these happen and nothing gets done, right?
Yeah, more often than not, this is true.
Yeah, and nothing will get done this time. Even with I mean, at least Biden's trying. He's making an attempt. He's doing something, but the executive orders aren't going to get much done.
Yeah, well, executive orders can easily get overturned, right? Executive orders get overturned really easy. The next time, one of those backwards NRA backwards, right? Become president, you know.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I can almost guarantee 2024, it's either going to be Trump or a worse representation of that. We're not going to get some sane Republican taking over the Republican nomination.
Yeah, but honestly, like, I think Bill Maher said it best. Like, whenever it was, when Romney ran, it's like, oh God, Romney, I take 40 years of Romney over like 1 minute of Trump.
Yeah, I remember because I was one of those because I know Mitt Romney well. He was involved in state politics here in Michigan. The Romney family is old money here in Michigan, right? So, and I knew his brand of Mormonism well. So I was like dead fast against him. But yeah, in looking back, I'm like, maybe could have taken a little easier on Romney.
Well, Romney's from Detroit. I thought his family. Well, because he was in. Did he represent? He was a senator or a thing in Utah. I thought he was from Utah.
Well, no, he lives in Utah now because that's the Mormon epicenter. He wasn't born here in Michigan, but I do believe he was a governor or like a state congressman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was the governor of Massachusetts as well.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was his dad that was a governor here.
He was. Yeah, he was the governor over in Michigan, and thanks to Mitt Romney, we have Obamacare.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was Mitt Romney's dad that was governor here.
Yeah, it's sad when a guy that pretty much puts businesses and out of people who factory workers out of work with Bain Capital is actually considered moderate and good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you find that a lot with the radicalization of parties. Is that whether it's different parties, when they radicalize, you just think to yourself, oh no, well, at least he could be worse. He could be worse. Yeah, it's not uncommon.
Yeah. It's like, how is it that we can now consider, like, I'm not calling him sane, but we now can consider George W. Bush a moderate Republican.
I don't. I think he's a fuck.
George W. Bush and Mitt Romney and Ronald Reagan would be considered at the moment a moderate Republican. The guy that destroyed the middle class.
Up until the time of COVID-19, I got into several arguments with liberals saying that Bush the younger was worse than Trump.
I still believe that Bush was the worst president we ever had. But I only think that that's the case because Trump's hands were tied on the worst things he wanted to do, right? He wasn't able to do the worst things he wanted to do. We were in direct opposition against him the entire time, to where George Bush had the support of the entire country to commit his war crimes. So, that's pretty much why I side that Bush is worse than Trump, just on the fact of the war crimes.
Well, you see, I'll give Bush one thing. At least he didn't spend 3 hours with executive time. He actually went to work to be the worst president, whereas Trump just rage tweets at 3 o'clock after he's had a shit, and then decides to then doesn't work. They're actually, like, how many hours did he actually spend in the Oval Office? Like, I wish
not many. And that's the funny thing, because I was listening to right wing radio, and they literally said, Trump was the first president ever that actually went to work. They said, Obama, Biden, they just get briefs all day. Trump was actually at work. I'm like, no, like we know he wasn't. Like, no, he wasn't.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The difference between Trump getting a briefing and Obama getting a briefing is that apparently, according to a lot of people, Trump wanted in bullet points because he couldn't read past one page because his attention couldn't stay that long. Whereas, Obama spent more time reading briefs because he actually read them.
Yep. Yeah. And they had to make the letters bigger, the pictures bigger for Trump. I mean, it's really sad, honestly.
It's hard to turn briefings into pop-up books.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the pop-up books. That's good.
All right. Well,
Sammy, I lost the cat, the drunk cat. You want to share that again? I'll post it up.
Yeah.
We got a drunk cat here. It's a hilarious video, to tell you the truth. The cat just someone got scared. I guess cats like wine, or some cats like wine at least.
aren't cats allergic to alcohol or something like that? Doesn't it almost kill them or something?
Well, this cat seemed very happy. Let's see. I don't see it
I'll
now.
just share it on.
Oh, there it is.
Is
Gotcha.
that big enough?
All right. All right. See, this is the before. Well, this is during, I guess.
Well, that's how my cat drinks water, and that's why my kitchen floor is soaked.
Nice. That's the way how it drinks, huh? Your cat's got a drinking problem there, Glenn.
Yeah. Well, that one of my cats actually uses it. You know, the other one pours it.
Yeah, it's like, I don't even know where that stuff is.
We have all been there.
Oh yeah. Cat's like, I'm never doing this
Too
again.
many nights. Too many nights.
I've actually been like that, you know, where it's actually possible to fall upstairs, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I wish I could find it, but a friend of mine, I knew her and her brother when I worked with them in England, and she shared this video that her brother was so drunk, like he looked like a freaking tarantula trying to climb upstairs.
Nice.
It was
That's beautiful.
Use
That's
the
beautiful,
pole,
Sammy.
mate. That's it.
Poor kitty cat, man.
That cat's living its best life. That's what that cat's doing.
yeah.
Well, you're right. We've all been there. All been there.
Hey, I lived in England. I was there a lot more than I should have. Listen, it's grey and dreary. It's go to the pub, get drunk, go home, sleep it off, or go out. Oh, and you got to get the disgusting takeout food like the the fish and chips or the kebab meat and chips, and it's like with
Well, there's
We
a
have
whole-
Waffle House.
There's a whole round of bad decisions when
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
not just the food, women, or whoever.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't really partying if it doesn't end at 3 a.m. at Waffle House talking to the strippers. I mean, it's
Yeah, for us it was IHOP, the IHOP and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anyone else have? We had little nursery rhymes we used to have to try and remember the right way to do things when drinking, like beer then grass, you're on your ass.
Nice.
Grass then beer, full of cheer.
I like that. I haven't heard that.
And there was a similar one.
What's it? It's a beer. Beer before liquor makes you better. Or liquor
Sicker.
Something makes you sicker or something like that.
Yeah.
Beer then liquor makes you sicker or something like that.
liquor before
think
beer,
that's
never
a-
fear.
Yeah.
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 And it's a good
to
philosophy.
know.
I mean, as a former alcoholic, I can say it's a good philosophy to live by.
Like I said, what you guys ended up in Waffle House. We have all these like chicken and in England kebab, like the the doner meat type thing, and it's fish and chips and that. But basically, what you get is you get the lamb and the chicken and the beef kebab meat on top of like English chips, and then you put and then you put chili sauce and garlic sauce. At this point, you are paralytically drunk, by the way.
Right.
And all I got to say about that kebab meat or that doner meat, you want to know how bad, how much grease it is. That the next morning I'd left some out, and my whole plate was just covered in like congealed grease.
Yeah,
So-
not a lot of good things happen at 3:00 in the morning if you're out and about. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of bad things that happen.
But then, of course, I just microwaved and ate it anyway. You know, but
Sure, right.
you know. But like I
Of
said,
course.
at that point, it's like, oh God, I'm eating this. It's like, because there's never Subway or anything that's kind of healthy open at that point, and probably don't want it anyway. So you just go and eat the stuff that's going to make it even worse. It's
I
going to
just
soak
want
up
to
the
feel
alcohol.
good right now. I just want to feel good right now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I don't miss those days at all.
Well,
I gave up drinking myself as well. I haven't drinking in almost. It's so long. It's hard for me to remember the number now. It's over.
Yeah,
10.
that's where I'm at. It's I can't say over 10 years, but like once I got over a year, it's just like, why even keep track?
I don't advocate this strategy. But I found that drinking just a little bit makes my teenagers a lot more dealable. I can deal with them. Maybe my 19-year-old boy came over. He's about to turn 19, and a couple of cans of Guinness made the entire experience far more pleasurable for both of us.
Well, I ever since I moved in with my girlfriend, she really doesn't drink a lot at all. So I don't drink. It's just like I was more social drinker type thing.
Yeah.
But when I was living with my former roommate, him and I, this was when the craft beer was exploding in our province, and there was a massive explosion. So we would buy beer, a lot of it, and you get 10 cents per can if you return it to the beer store. 10 cents per can, and you get. We were going, I think, every like maybe 6 months, and we were getting $80 worth. So you can imagine how much we were drinking.
Yeah.
I was fortunate. I was very fortunate to have been raised with some cousins that taught me how to drink. They would play this dice game, and we would sit there and drink. And man, my cousins would get me like totally blitzed.
Yeah.
Beyond being able to move around and doing anything, throwing up in places that I shouldn't be. But I later grew up, and after hanging out with them enough, I found out there's not even any rules to that dice game. They're just getting me fucked up as much as they possibly could.
That's hilarious, Billy.
Yeah,
That's
I actually felt kind of really bad doing this, but I used to go to this rock club for every Sunday, and on my birthday, 2 years in a row, I walked by the subway, and that's where I threw up. At the exact same spot 2 straight years. I feel bad for the person that had to clean it up, but
Well, probably my worst experience was when I was 30, and I was drinking through the whole day, and then I met up with a buddy of mine and had some clams and linguine for dinner.
Oh,
Went all up to my nose, nose, out on the street. Yeah. That was a poor choice.
A lot of my drinking when I'm in England, there was difference. It was once I remember I was staying my sister's on the, I think it was a Friday or the Saturday night, because there was I lived in London, was going up to Manchester, up to Everton, because I'm a Manchester United supporter, and we were traveling up to Liverpool, where Everton play, because we were going away game. And my sister goes, just come into her place, her local, just come in for one, and then we'll go home. Yeah, that didn't happen. Try have a hangover on a 3-hour coach ride to a football match. Or actually the worst was first time I drank hard liquor was at Woodstock 94, and then driving back from New York State, taking a bus ride to Montreal, and then having to get a train all the way, having to get a bus all the way to Toronto same day. And I was hungover on rum, and that was not it.
I'll tell you, when I was touring we were heading over to Dublin from England.
Yeah.
And we were taking a bus over to, I think it was the ferry, I guess. And there was some kind of football match over there, and there was this dude who was trash. He was drinking on the bus, of course, right? Because I guess that's what happens. And he was talking about George Best. This man, I got to hear all about fucking George Best, and to this day, I know he was a footballer. Yeah,
Northern Irish, great. The greatest player to ever strap up boots.
And so, I heard his drunken, I guess, documentary about George Best for the entire life.
Yeah. Well, anyone that's a Manchester United supporter will always say he's the greatest player that ever stepped foot on any field. And a lot of people will say, if you speak to a Northern Irish person, there's no one else that they will say is any better.
Right.
So I had a similar experience to Woolly Ignorant. And recently, by recently, I mean sort of 12 months or so ago, first time experience, I don't think it was the first time I'd drunk it, but the first time I'd been drunk on tequila.
Oh,
and
I remember this getting in badly.
I thought, this shit ain't working, so I'm drinking more and more and more. And at some point, I think the bottle was gone by then. It kicked in, and it kicked in, and kicked in, and it kept kicking in, and it comes on so slowly, and it is absolutely bizarre to be getting drunker and drunker when you've stopped drinking long ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can do to stop. You've just got to ride the roller coaster.
So I just looked up the term. It's peritonitis. It's the inflammation of the membrane lining the abdominal wall and covering the abdominal organs. It is infectious and often life-threatening. Oh, wow. Glad that you made it through, Willie Ignorant.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone's had that bad tequila experience. My bad tequila experience was so bad that I was so hungover that it was 5 years before I touched this stuff again.
Yeah.
And now I will not touch. And I'm more the like person, if I'm drinking tequila, I don't mind spending a little bit extra and getting the really good, drinking the good stuff and just sipping it, not shooting it like, Cuervo and Sosa, that's like shit you clean your toilet with.
I think that's what I was drinking. And what's worse is we were on holiday several hours away, and it was the night before we were leaving to return home, and I was feeling sorry for myself that I hadn't partied as much as I'd wanted to. So I decided to hit this bottle the night before, having to get up early and drive several hours back home. So you can imagine what my journey home was like.
Although
I had
one of my
experience with gin. I was off gin for a long time, like a super long time.
I never
There's
touched
some
tequila
names.
again.
If you say the alcohol, it just makes me start to feel sick again. And gin is one of those.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's kind of how I get now too. Like even just mentioning it, I just remember just all the sick mornings I had, which was like every morning for about 4 years.
You know what's weird is that I've been getting these urges to smoke now. Like I would used to smoke the small cigarette, the small cigars and everything. And okay, like it's been years, but it's like every once in a while I'll just be looking into my coffee and I'll be like, man, a cigar would be nice, or cigarette would be nice right now. It just shows you how powerful the addiction is.
I've been told I'll never really get over the urge. Every once in a while, it can be 10, 15, 20 years from now, I'll get this sudden urge to want to smoke a cigarette.
Yep.
Yeah, I was lucky. I was one of those again. I was a social smoker, so it's like everyone was out, I would have one. But luckily, I never got in. And I know a lot of people. One of my best friends, the guy that was telling me about the caterer, he's been a smoker for 20 years, and maybe even longer. And it's it's hard. Like I can't imagine how difficult it must be to try quit that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they say it's the most addictive drug in the world, more addictive than heroin. I can't. My last month has been the weirdest month I've ever had. It's like I've tried to make videos describing it, and it's really
you just quit?
Yeah, I still smoke I'm down to about a cigarette a day, right? But my cutoff date is tomorrow, so tomorrow I'm done with even the one I allow myself.
Yeah. So what's your strategy, Rage? Well, what are you replacing that behavior with, or are you? I mean, what's your plan?
I chew the Nicorette gum, and I take the Wellbutrin. But yeah, I'm just chewing stuff. I chew a lot of stuff. I'm fidgety. I do a lot more exercise. So if I get super fidgety, that's when I work out.
Yeah, Mark Maron used the lozenges and the gum for quite a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was told because the gum wasn't quite working at work first to do that, and it would make me sick, and I wouldn't want to smoke. But the Wellbutrin, once the doctor prescribed that, it pretty much took it away.
What is that? Is that like a pill or what is it?
Yeah, it's a pill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helps with the withdrawals, and it seems to have helped with the sleepwalking. Because when I was just taking the gum, I would sleepwalk and shit. So
No way. What were
Yeah.
you doing while you were sleepwalking?
well, I freaked my daughter out one morning, dude. Like she called my sister-in-law at 5:30 in the morning, saying like, I think something's wrong with Dad because I don't know what I was doing, but I was doing something that freaked her out.
Yeah.
And then I woke up to the messages, and I didn't remember any of that. She told me about it, and I thought she was dreaming. And then I saw my messages, and I'm like, oh, she wasn't dreaming.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
isn't it the part of the fact with smoking that I guess it helps that you don't drink, because when people drink, and if they used to be smoked, they'll smoke again type thing.
Oh yeah,
That is
yeah.
the thing.
I could see that being a huge trigger if I still drank. Like I always I always smoked more when I was drinking. So
Yeah.
drinking and smoking went hand in hand.
Yeah, yeah. Also, it's also like you were saying about fidgeting because it's actually holding the cigarette as part of the thing that is
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, the big thing is like the oral thing. I'm used to grabbing a cigarette and having it in my mouth. Like I still constantly reach for a pack of cigarettes that's not there.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the ghost pack. Like people have a ghost hand if they lose a limb or something.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I used to sleepwalk as a kid, and one of the times I was sleepwalking, I took a shit on the stairs going downstairs. My
Yeah,
parents
I've
told me-
heard it's like worse on that other stuff. I can't never remember what it's called. But the other stuff that helps you quit smoking, it's supposed to be really
Chantix.
bad. Like yeah,
Chantix will
Chantix.
fuck your head up if you're not careful.
People like get in their cars and drive while they're sleeping and shit. Go to Taco Bell and order food and they're sleeping.
Andy,
That's
just
scary.
in
Yeah.
case everyone else is the same as me, the first and only thing that popped into my head when you just said that was carpet.
Was what? Oh no carpet. It was just a. It was
too
just
easy.
a wooden stair. Just a
Too
wooden-
easy.
Yeah.
Just deal and move on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my next
I'm,
thing is I'm going to be quitting coffee and weed, and,
I-
both of those
I-
things are my necessities. So,
Rainbug said he woke up 10 miles from the gas station, at the gas station when he was on Chantix. Yeah, Chantix. I had an ex-girlfriend who was on Chantix, and that messed her up, dude. Yeah.
Walking, brain bug, or driving?
yeah, people. I've heard a lot of people say driving. Like they'll drive to like a Taco Bell or whatever's open in the middle of the night.
Scary.
People have been stopped getting in their cars, woken up getting in their cars, and it's a scary thing. But I've come to the conclusion it might not even really necessarily be the medication. It's just that cigarettes is such a powerful mind-altering drug, and you don't even realize it as you're smoking because it doesn't get you high like weed or
Right.
drunk like alcohol. It's just something that you've done since whenever.
You know
Brain
what
bug was
terrifies
driving too.
Drive. You know, not what really terrifies me is the idea that at some point in my life I might have to give up caffeine.
Yeah, see, that's my next thing. Is my doctors are telling me caffeine, and like the weed helps me with my pain. But with my lungs, I have to give that up as well. So,
But you
it's
can
like-
still do edibles, can't you?
Yeah, I tried to get over to the edibles thing. They're either always too weak or way too strong. They just,
Yeah.
like for me, I'm gonna have to quit and get back on more of a pharmaceutical type regimen instead of
Yeah.
self-medicating with weed.
Sure.
Man, I have something to say about those edibles. Like I have recently beginning to mess with some of them, like the chocolate. I got a Rice Krispie treat. It was 500 milligrams, and I cut it in half and only ate half of it. I've never experienced the paranoid feelings
Yeah.
that people have
That's kind of how it
described,
does me.
and that was so fucking intense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I did not know weed was even that. But these things right here, this is a little sucker. I'm saving this bad boy for later. But these are like, it's just right. It's and
Mhm.
you don't have to necessarily eat the whole thing, but
Hmm.
those numbers on the package, they mean something.
They mean things.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Those numbers mean things.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I think my body's just different with edibles, and it takes like a really large dose for it to affect me because I've been smoking weed so long.
Yeah.
But like, I had these gummies right now because I've been for a new thing that I think it's because of quitting smoking. That I've been having insomnia, so I've started waking up earlier and earlier. So I've got these little gummies, and they're 100 milligrams a piece. Like these are bad boys, So I'll take 2 of those, and I sleep the night through. So I can see uses for it, but I'm gonna. It's like all a habit thing, and I'm used to smoking that flower, so it's gonna be just another thing that I'm gonna have to quit. But I take these things, in little doses. So I quit the drinking a year ago. Now I've quit smoking. I've cut down my soda consumption significantly. Now I got to get rid of coffee and weed.
How the fuck do you have weed, but you don't even have health care?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And like for me, like it's cheaper to self-medicate. Like, I get when last year when I was going through those difficulties with COVID and I was talking about money, people would be like, "Well, you smoke weed all the time. How much money do you spend on weed?" I'm like, "Dude, I haven't spent money on weed in years. Like, what are you talking about? We grow our shit here,
Yeah.
And my brother's a scientist, man.
You're lucky. You're lucky, Doc. You're lucky. Yeah. There's a lot. The edibles can vary greatly in strength. These weren't over the counter. This is when they were still illegal here. But we had these peanut butter cups that were just this big, but you couldn't eat the whole thing. You'd have to eat like a quarter, and even that would knock me on my ass.
Oh,
yeah, and that's how it is with me. It either does nothing or it knocks me on my ass.
Yeah. Do you find that the reason you need to quit weed is because if you're smoking it, it's kind of like smoking a cigarette? You're scared you'll start smoking again, or?
No, it hurts my lungs now. Like I'm smoking right now, it hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I don't like.
You're still burning, because you're still burning vegetable matter and then inhaling it into your lungs. No matter what it is, it's never good.
COVID did a real number on my lungs. It hurt to smoke cigarettes, and like anybody that smokes cigarettes knows, like at first you feel the cigarettes, and at first it'll get you high, but then you don't feel it. It's nothing, and it hurt to smoke cigarettes.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I've heard the smoker's cough. I'm happy I never started.
Yeah.
Love it.
And that's new. I never had smoker's cough until after COVID. COVID did a real damage on my lungs.
Oh, you ended. You said. Oh, I didn't know you got it. You got COVID.
Yeah, in October, and I'm one of because 20% of people that get the virus continue to suffer from it. The virus will go away. You're not contagious anymore, but you still have serious issues. I'm one of those. So I've been going to the doctors. I was out of work for a couple months. I'm just getting back to work 2 days a week, easing my way into it. Like at one point, we thought I had cancer because they found a spot. So that's something that we're going to be monitoring. The test came back good, but I'm going to be monitoring that until it's freaking cancer. So.
Yeah. So but you don't seem to have it. Do you have any brain fog?
No, and that was something like even through COVID, I was able to keep streaming, and I never really stopped. It was when I quit smoking, I had to quit streaming because with drinking, when I was streaming, I would smoke more. It's just like maybe a nervous habit or something. So when I quit smoking, I mean that's one of the main reasons why I shut everything down on the channel is because I needed to change everything I was doing.
That was smart.
But now I'm back and everybody hates it.
No, the right people hate it.
Yeah, the right people hate it.
If you're not getting some amount of hate, you're not doing your job right.
Yeah. I did make an ass of myself recently with Khalil Allah, so it's part of.
So what happened? Fault. Did you just walk into a rhetorical trap?
Well, yeah. Well, so he's wanted to. We've been kind of talking behind the scenes since my video, and right. I'm still trying to keep an open communication. I want to understand the guy. But he caught me on Richard Masson's channel in the middle of a super long stream. And, at first I was being super nice because, I did feel kind of bad for some of the shit talking I did in my video, and I kind of do feel like maybe I added on to some of the harassment he was receiving. So I felt bad and I was super nice. And, everybody that knows me knows I don't do philosophy. It's not my thing. I don't really care about it. He walked me into a philosophical trap that was just well beyond me. And it's like kind of like taking candy from a baby, but it made me mad. And he's been reaching out to me every day wanting to have a private conversation. And I'm going to do it. It's just like I had to tell them, I'm like, I'm mad. And once I'm not mad anymore, we'll talk.
I think what I'm hearing, and this is what I've thought for a long time, is that doing what we do here in this space as content creators, especially as atheists, we have to be good at so many different things. It isn't just the technical stuff. It isn't just being entertaining. It's about knowing, the basic, counter apologetics. It's about knowing history. It's about being able to be good at several different things at once. And it's difficult. It's a difficult thing to do.
Well, yeah, and it opened my eyes to the fact that I do need to take philosophy a little more seriously. I mean, I've had great people offer. I mean, Dragnos Silva's offered me a chance to learn from Ozzy. Like, you don't get better than that. And I didn't really take him up on it. So, I'm going to open myself up to it and learn it from him a little more, because I'm not going to be walked into another trap like that. It wasn't pleasant. It made me very, very angry, and I didn't represent myself well.
That anger is a good emotion to have. That shows you that you want to do better. So that's good.
Yeah.
And I was in that stream, I think about the 10th hour, if you wanted to check it out. I did try and defend you to Khalil, but obviously I don't want to speak for you. So I hope I said the right thing, but I just said that I imagine the way you saw it, because it's the way I see it, is that yes, philosophy is important. He tried to imply that I was saying, as you were, that philosophy had no value, which was a complete straw man, because of course it does. I said it doesn't get us to God. It doesn't even get us to theism. Like, it's great. It's fun. It's interesting.
There are different schools of philosophy, of course.
No,
There's the rationalist school, which is more European continental type of philosophy, and that's more of the non-empirical, grossly oversimplification. It's non-empirical. A lot of the continental styles of philosophy, and that's where you can get into these cul-de-sacs of logic, these cul-de-sacs of how many angels can dance on the head of a pin, or someone like Descartes saying that there's spirit and there's body, and these things interact with each other, and so that kind of silliness. And the thing is, logic unmoored from data is insanity. That's what it is. Well, if you do a means test, then you're fucked in the head. That's what
I think that he picked his. I think he had a strategy, and I think he carried through with it really well, because if you know me well enough, I do get emotional, especially when it's topics that I really care about. And he started with a philosophical thought experiment asking why slavery is wrong. And I mean, if you anybody that's watched my channel, you see immediately a shitstorm was a brewing, and I should have left instead of carried on with it. But Sammy Jenkins, you're exactly right, because I tried to explain to him, like, you're trying to say that I'm saying that philosophy is not important in anything. And maybe those words came out of my mouth and I expressed myself poorly. But what I'm saying is, in my reality, it just isn't important. So in your reality, to where it is important for you, and this is what you enjoy, I don't tick like that. I tick with other things. I'm a theology guy. I'm not a philosophy guy.
Well, let me ask. Sorry, guys.
No, go on.
I'm sorry?
Yes?
Well, I think you froze.
I think froze. Yeah, because philosophy. It's I know enough to make shitty jokes. That's what I know enough to make shitty jokes.
Yeah, well, and if I need to have an argument on philosophy, I research for that. Like I don't like going into conversations unprepared. You know, so he tried to make a point like I'm not even qualified to comment on the Kalam cosmological argument. I'm like, no, dude, I can spend 2.5 days and understand that argument and understand that there's no way in hell that argument takes you to Allah. But I don't need to be have a master's or a PhD in philosophy to do that. All I really need is the incentive, right? So
that is one of the oldest arguments, and like my kids understand that. I can sit there and explain that argument with them. That's like one of the basic ones.
I mean, are you even an atheist if you haven't seen a debunking of William Lane Craig on the Kalam cosmological argument?
Just to answer Atheist Edge's answer, you know, philosophy is questioning with no answer that you know of, right? In other words, you are going towards an answer from different arguments. Theology is more like you know what the answer is. It is a divine answer. It is a godly answer, and you reverse engineer it.
And I'm probably saying that poorly. I'm not like I study holy text, and I study what the holy books say, and I deal with literal Christians that believe it literally. That's what I deal with. I'm not in the philosophical realm. But I mean, like I said, plenty of people told me I'm going to get caught up one day. Dragnot has, Sokka has. They've all tried to help me. They all understand me and that I'm not that, you know. So it happened. It caught me up, and I learned a life lesson. You know?
Yeah.
I recommend just learn a little bit of basic epistemology, not?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm going to devote myself to now.
I did
learning.
What they call a bridging course because I never finished high school. So to get an entry number to get into uni, you do a bridging course, and I chose philosophy as one of the subjects. And we just did basic epistemology, so what it is.
Yeah.
You know, you talk about Descartes' demon, Venn diagrams, justified true belief. So a basic knowledge. But that's where it stopped, and so it sort of sent me down the solipsist route of we can't know anything because we can't justify anything. But it gave me a good sort of basic grasp that when I hear other people talk about it, I can understand, but there's no way I could get into a discussion about any of it. And therefore it doesn't have a huge bearing on what I believe.
Yeah, and usually, you know, if I need to, that, you know, if philosophy comes up, I understand that I'm not qualified to talk on that, so I will bring people on that are. You know, I'll bring a Dragnot on, I'll bring a Sokka on. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've called on Sokka because something philosophy came up, and I'm just not that dude. You know,
this is an interesting conversation Brainbug and I are having in the chat here, and this is, you know, for all of you who aren't aware of this, science is a subset of philosophy too. It is a pursuit of knowledge. It's a highly effective philosophy due to its empirical nature. And empirical just means mean testing. It's figuring out data, discovering data. And so it's just a little discussion here in the side chat about philosophy and science.
So yeah, I mean, it did open my eyes, and that's essentially what Khalil Allah was saying. Is that philosophy is everything, basically, and you know, it doesn't really matter if I like it or not, right? Like, I'm using philosophy, and that just made me even more fucking mad, you know.
Philosophy, you know, I have to tell you something. I don't think Kant is going to get you up, be able to like send a satellite out into orbit. I don't think the Quran is going to do that either. You know, it's not going to. It's not going to make a freaking windmill. It's not going to do any of those things. So is it everything? You have to start parsing out your terms and asking people, what do you mean with the words that you're saying? So if you're talking about science in the form of philosophy, sure, it'll do lots of things. But if you're talking about navel gazing in your yoga studio, talking about namaste, that's not going to get you anywhere.
Sorry, guys.
Oh yeah, I agree.
You're very windy, Glenn. You're very windy.
Yeah. I'm actually at a lab because I'm getting my blood taken. So I'm gonna say have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys next week.
All right, take care.
Have a good one, dude.
You too.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I don't like being caught. So, you know, if I can get myself to a level to where I can't get caught again,
No one likes being caught. Yeah.
And yeah, I was I'm medicated. It was late at night, so all of these factors didn't add up together.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it
Like
was
they have me on
funny.
so
It
many
was
damn
like,
medications now. It's like insane. I feel like an old person about to die.
Hey, what's up, Denver? Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't know the guy as an atheist, but I will point out that the way he tried to twist what I was saying to be that philosophy had no value, or that essentially had no value, or that we don't use it every day, or something to that effect, because that was his, rebuttal. Every time you make a decision, that's philosophy.
Yeah.
That's what the theists tend to do.
Yeah. I mean, are you saying philosophy is
And
everything? Are you saying that me taking my shit in the morning, that's philosophy? I want, once again, being able to clarify terms, like being able to figure out what the other person means with the words that they're saying. Because a lot of the times they can equivocate, right? They can go, it's a shitty fucking comedian. Well, it's a funny comedian trick when we do it, because we take the meanings of words and change them mid-sentence so that they're funny, right? So show me to your litter,
Yeah.
like obviously a play on words, but that's what a lot of theists do. They change the meanings. Like, don't you have faith? You have to have faith in everything. Don't you have faith that your child loves you? Don't you have faith in God? And what they do, it's just shitty wordplay. And you can tell you're fucking agitated just fucking talking about it.
Yeah,
Well, I
it's
guess what
very
I'm
aggravating.
wondering is, has he changed his actions too, or his tactics, or his MO
Yeah.
with his beliefs?
Well, I mean,
You may know Rage because you've known him a little while, but
so I was on his show one time, and like he was super nice to me, and it was when he was an atheist. The James guy didn't like me too much, but I'm used to theists not liking me. I'm used to that reaction from them, especially if they're aware of my content. Completely understandable reaction to me, and I understand it, but I never really got into to his channel, not because it's a bad channel. I thought it was a good channel and it was growing quickly and he was getting a lot of respect, but it was more the philosophical type of conversations. And that's just not what interests me. I don't get off on that. Right. So it's like,
well, when I was on the channel, I would always ask the person if they were a theist or whoever I was asking. It's like, well, how do you know what you know? I mean, how do you know if you're wrong? Let's explore what you're saying. So it wasn't exactly, I wasn't arguing with the person, but I was definitely asking them kind of like Socratic questions about trying to, obliquely trying to like tease apart their crazy beliefs.
Yeah, and I have picked up some things just naturally from my association with Dragnot and Sokka. I mean, if they're on my channel talking for 4 or 5 hours about philosophy, I'm picking up on shit. I know that I'm not to a place to where I can put it together, formulate it, or even sometimes understand it.
Well, the thing is with reading philosophy, I will say this about reading philosophers like Daniel Dennett. No knocking against Daniel Dennett, though he did steal my donut at TAM, and I do hold that against him. I'm just saying that right now. Everyone knows I have beef with Daniel Dennett right now. But, a lot of philosophers, they seem to be getting paid by the word, and they're not very good at being able to make their material accessible to the everyday person.
That was always the joke with Sokka. Like when I was first getting to know Sokka, I was drunk one night on the old Steam Craze GDC channel, and it was John Peterson was hosting it. So when we were becoming super tight, and Sokka kept going on and on like Sokka does, and I love the guy, but I was like, damn it, Sokka. I started overcutting him, and they started telling me about it, and I was drunk off my ass. I'm like, damn it, Sokka, you talk for 30 minutes at a time. I gotta cut you off.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, there's a few philosophers out there that just like hearing the sound of their own voice.
But he's really good at what he does, though, man. Just watching that guy in action with somebody is you just sit back and appreciate the brilliance that you'll never be able to do.
Yeah.
introduce Khalil.
Say what? Oh,
Introduce Khalil. Sorry, I'm provocative.
Well, I'm actually, I get come at it from both ways because, and I can see how people think that my video was like being critical of the guy. It wasn't. I was just saying atheists should be able to question conversions, and I was having fun and talking shit and doing what I do. But I get come at it from both ways now. Like people are like, don't use his Muslim name. Call him the other name, and then
I'm going to use the first. I'm going to call the pronouns the person wants me to call them.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what made because when I was having fun with it, somebody was like, "You're basically dead naming this guy," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's kind of a shitty thing to do." So.
And once again, these are common missteps that comedians do, that are trying to stay within certain rules and especially on social media, right? It's I try to be highly aware of, if I am going to pick a fight, if I am going to throw a joke, I want to make it clean. I want to make it a clean hit.
Yeah, and I'm completely interested in not picking a fight. Like, this is not he's a theist, but he's not a type of theist I pick a fight with. He's like as mad as I was at him, we were still able to come together against the homophobe that revealed himself in the room that night. So it's like, this is an ally. I want to understand him. I want to be able to have a good relationship with him. I made some missteps. In the video, I was talking shit because I was just seeing things that I didn't like. People coming down on people for questioning.
I'm looking out out the window.
I keep looking out the window too, because if it comes here, I'm going to be mad.
I don't know his situation. Once again, my first question would be, who's going to hell? That would be the top one, because I would be intrigued. I would be intrigued with the answer about who's going to hell.
Well, and that's
it is mine.
Yeah. That's what I want to know most, I think.
Because that's when you can tell whether or not. So, are you saying that I'm going to hell because I'm not heterosexual? What are you saying? What do you believe? What do you think? And then we can go from there.
Yeah. That and like. So I can understand like maybe, a kalam or philosophical arguments bringing you to a deist position, right? Like there might be something out there. But how do you get past the atrocities that happen in the name of this God that you now follow, right? Like, they say, well, you're talking about the extremists. No, like literally the theocracies that are born from this religion do horrible, horrible things, and not. I just don't understand how you get past that. What's done in the name of said God?
How do you go from the Kalam cosmological argument to the fact that of monotheism versus like monotheism, like Islam, versus polytheism, monotheism, like Christianity?
Well,
yeah, I mean, I literally on my Facebook.
It looks like he had something to say.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
and I hope this comes out right. If God's morals are dodgy, then obviously God's not what they think he is. If his morals are objective, then we should all know them, and they're written on our heart and whatever, that we should all know them, right? But if his morals or why he could do bad shit, we just don't understand it. When they use that excuse, that means that there is no objective morals.
Yeah, well, that's an argument for ignorance. That's what that is. We don't know, so it has to be right.
Yesterday on my Facebook page, I posted the Quran verse where it literally tells you that first you try to convert a non-believer, but if you can't convert a non-believer, you kill them, and you kill them wherever they are, and you take pleasure in that. I mean, the Quran literally tells its followers to kill non-believers. It's religion. I don't understand how you get past that. If you're a decent human being that comes from a position that all of it was bullshit, how do you get past that, right?
Yeah. If God does it, it's not a crime. The Richard Nixon Protocol. Well said, Barry. Yeah. So you do good work, great.
How are they moral if we don't know what they are? I mean, how are they objective if we don't even know what they are? It's just beyond our understanding of why, raping certain people or killing certain babies is moral.
Well, and that's what's infuriating about philosophy, because like he was coming from the position that objective can't be known. Like it's outside of human opinion. Well, no Christian that
the
I have
antithesis.
ever talked to looks at it like that, right? Like none of them look at it that way. No, they think that there's an objective morality and Christians have it and we don't.
So you're saying to me right now, just so that I can understand it, that there is an objective morality that we cannot know, but your God wrote a book.
Exactly. That's
Is that
that's
we're
exactly
talking
what he
about?
said.
Because
That's exactly. He said that objective
on
morality
its
is
face,
unknown.
prima facie, on its face, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
My
he's-
five,
obje-
when my
yeah,
kids
it
were
was
5,
super
I'd
fucking
say,
weird,
that's
man.
a kind of bullshit, man. That's hilarious.
It's still like, and this is why like I haven't talked to him yet because obviously I'm still a little angry.
Well, there's like I pointed out many times. There's a very close relationship, intimacy between anger and comedy. So for me, that's how I work it out. That's how I work it out.
I'm never gonna get caught again, man. Never.
Well, the thing is, Rage. Everyone gets caught. Everyone, I got caught a couple of years ago on a podcast. And it just happens. You just happen.
And
Yeah,
you
it's-
can't
I mean-
be as involved as you are, and
Yeah,
not.
well, it's kind of a compliment because all these Christians and theists have tried to do it all for years now, and it took a goddamn atheist. So, not an
Yeah.
atheist anymore, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're
And
saying.
I don't
Yeah.
know about anyone else, but I hold my opinion pretty highly. And I think you're a pretty fucking good dude, Knock. So
Thank you,
that
man. I
means
appreciate it.
you must be pretty fucking awesome.
I appreciate
you're
that, man.
good.
I try. That's the one thing. Like, I do try to be a good dude despite the rough edges.
Well, I think the more insight you have, you realize how many, how deficient you are in many different ways. But then you look at everybody else and you look going, well, when I am graded on a curve, maybe not too bad. Maybe not too bad.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like I realized recently that the thing I admire most in people, I can definitively say now, is their ability to own their shit,
Yeah.
to embrace mistakes. Don't just stand up and own shit. Embrace the shit.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean that's
what
the human
life is-
experience. I mean,
it
it's our mistakes
tell
is
you a
what
funny-
defines us.
Thank
I'll
you.
tell you a funny story from my 20-year failed marriage. Failed marriage, or was it successful since I'm out of it? I don't know. I'll let you guys decide. So I've had this conversation with my ex-wife many times when we were married. It's like, I would just say, I'm wrong, and I'm sorry I'm wrong, or wow, I guess I have to change my opinion like that. And that would just get her angry because she's like, you say you're wrong, but you don't act like you're wrong. It's like, so what does that mean? I apologize in good faith. I identify the behavior that I did that was wrong, and I'm going to try to make it better. And when I'm just wrong about things like, what's the capital of Ecuador? I don't know. Or I might say what I think it is, and then I turn out to be wrong. But I admit that I'm wrong. I'm wrong a lot, but I don't get crushed by it. I don't get crushed by it.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I think that's why people think you're not admitting that you're wrong. You're just saying the words because you're not what, moping, or what are you supposed to do?
Well, people want, Barry points this out. People want you to feel humiliated when you're wrong. And it's like, fuck you. I'm not going to feel, believe me, there's a bunch of things I can feel humiliated about. Right. And I have a laundry list, but I'm not going to be fucking humiliated about being fucking wrong. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it just makes me mad at myself and makes me fight harder. Like,
Yeah,
and
that's it.
I always
Yeah.
try to admit if I'm wrong and when I'm wrong, and and like you said, like it happens all the time. Like it's the part of the human experience, man. We're gonna be wrong, and we're constantly learning creatures. The smartest person, guess what? They can get smarter.
Yeah.
If we learn from our mistakes, and it's such a huge part of the human experience, what kind of person is a human that constantly, someone like Trump, who's never been wrong, never been wrong.
Right.
Well, and
right.
I think that's what.
That was a terrible Trump.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah,
There's no good Trump.
It actually like describes the life he had. A lot of the life a lot of people I think have sometimes is, we do prop up people for odd reasons, and we will coddle them and feed their egos for whatever reason. Human beings have always done that. And I think it's a behavior that we need to get over and be more self-aware that we are indeed equal. Nobody's truly better. Sure, some are smarter. Some can use their hands. Like I can't fix a car. You know, a mechanic is definitely better at me than that. you know,
Barry, if my girlfriend was in the chat, I think she would be able to give a good monitoring of my behavior, since I'm not very good at monitoring, like, in that kind of encyclopedic way. But if she was here, maybe she'll talk. Maybe when we do our stream together on Sunday, I'll ask. I'll ask her about when the last time I admitted I was wrong, because she might remember that.
I will admit it's a lot easier to do it single.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't had to worry about, people disagreeing with me around here for quite a while.
Well, my girlfriend's a lot smarter than I am. I don't have a problem with saying that. And so I think I cushion a lot of my behavior with prefacing things like truth. Like, well, you're a lot smarter than I am. You're the big brain here. What do you think about this?
Does admitting you're wrong secretly inside your head count? If you don't admit it.
Well, I think if you acknowledge it, definitely. But I mean, I do think a public admission, if the mistake was public, is necessary. But it depends on the mistake, and also, like, if you acknowledge it inwardly and then actively change that behavior, I think that's really what matters.
And that's a good point, Barry, is that, when I think about when I'm interacting with people, either online or in real life, I try to be more of a positive. This sounds really strange coming from me. I try to be more of a positive reinforcer than a person who doles out punishment. I save the punishment for the rich, the powerful, the theocrats, the oligarchs. That's who I try to save the punishment for.
Yeah, and I was super lucky because I was really mad, and I've had a lot of rough experiences with theists, and I battle with like personal bigotries, and I don't want to represent bigotries, right? So, but I was lucky this week because I got to talk to my friend Justin Coe, that Christian vlogger, Seventh-day Adventist, super huge Christian here on YouTube, and one of the nicest people I've ever met. I actually just edited a little video of our banner together. So, I had that. I was able to have that person that was able to kind of bring me back and, see the golden linings in every situation and the learning experience. So I was kind of lucky this week, I think.
All right, so I just want to go over with everyone before we sign off, because it's close to an hour. Monday, I have the film shoot. I'm working on a buddy's film. It looks like I'm going to be on camera too, so for a short period of time. So I'm doing that on Monday, and next Friday, I am driving off to North Carolina. So that's going to mess up my schedule quite a bit next week. But life does catch up with you. Like I said, for members and patrons, I'll be doing some special content about my trip down to North Carolina.
And I want the farting OnlyFans, please. I'm getting my vaccination tomorrow, so I'll be waiting for that, Andy.
I thought about doing one just showing my feet, because people have a kink for that.
I got weird feet, man. I got a weird foot. I got a hook foot.
I got some nasty ass feet. So.
All right. Thanks everyone for showing up. Right. This has been a great.
Yeah, good talk, man. I enjoy the talks here. Good conversations.
Yeah, thanks for having the room open.
Yeah, well, this is a lot of fun. That's what this is, and I learn things too, and I get to yell and rant. I get a lot of my issues. I get a lot of my issues out, so I feel good about that. All right, everyone, take care.
Hooray.